So I recently talked about the DNC's anti-Trump war room, and I was really critical of it because it's led by and staffed with Hillary Clinton campaign operatives, and these are people who already lost to Donald Trump, and he's an easily beatable opponent. So if you've proven that you don't know how to defeat Donald Trump once, then certainly I don't think you should be in charge of a war room to try to defeat him or take him on again. And what I didn't realize is that there's more to this story. So apparently this war room was something that was constructed for the DNC by David Brock. So according to Counterpunch, the Democratic Party establishment has responded to Hillary Clinton's election loss the same way they would have responded had Hillary Clinton won, by changing absolutely nothing. Now that Hillary Clinton's machine has broken down, Brock is depending on bundling his donor network with that of billionaire George Soros's Democracy Alliance to push back against the direction Bernie Sanders and his supporters want to pull the party in, away from wealthy donors with the support of the Democratic Party establishment. The DNC has allowed Brock's super PAC, American Bridge, to develop strategy for a Trump war room, and the next DNC chair will likely be chosen by billionaire donors at the private retreat Brock is hosting under the distraction veil afforded by Trump's inauguration ceremony. The Clinton campaign, David Brock, and the mainstream narrative focused their campaign on manufacturing outrage toward Donald Trump rather than trying to make meaningful connections with working and middle-class voters, especially in areas like the Rust Belt that have suffered increasing economic anxiety over the past decade. David Brock won't be a part of any viable solution for the Democratic Party. As Bernie Sanders aide Michael Briggs said during the Democratic primaries, Hillary Clinton should be ashamed of her association with Brock. The same goes for the Democratic Party. If they continue to provide Brock with a platform and network to perpetuate his awful ideas and strategies along with out-of-touch wealthy donors. Their top-down approach to politics, a service model animated by an unwavering belief in their own superior intelligence, leaves us defenseless in the face of Trump and the right-wing forces he's empowered, wrote Alex Press for Jacobin in November. Their existential dread of radical change renders them suspicious of precisely the policies that could unite workers of all races and blunt Trump's appeal. In short, the rich can't save us. So I agree with everything that was written here entirely, and I would encourage you all to read the full article because I think that Michael Sonato nailed this. So basically, we need to reiterate what's going on here, just so we're clear. So the Democratic Party is holding a retreat with billionaires and David Brock, and they are planning to unilaterally choose the next DNC chair while we're all distracted with Donald Trump's inauguration. So if this is true, because I think he's speculating about this part, but I think that he has a reason to believe this, and we all have a reason to believe this. If this is true, we are not going to get Keith Ellison. We're going to get Tom Perez, whether we like it or not, because, I mean, this decision, although it's democratic, we don't make a vote. I have no say, you have no say. It comes down to people within the DNC, and the DNC currently, they accept large sums of money from lobbyists and multinational corporations. So who is it that those moneyed interests are going to want to be in charge of the organization? It's not going to be someone like Keith Ellison unless they can somehow buy off Keith Ellison or get him to be more friendly if he does accept this position. What they're going to do is try to keep the same business as usual, and by allowing billionaires and a super PAC to literally create a strategic arm of the DNC, it's just insulting. It's so insulting because you're really spitting in our faces here. I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it again. After Hillary Clinton's wing of the party and the Democratic Party establishment were defeated by Donald Trump and the Republicans when they should never win, when Donald Trump should have never won, well, they should be begging us right now. We should be bending over and they should be kissing our asses. But we have to beg them to even have a say in the party. They don't want to change, and that communicates to me that they'd rather be corrupt and do the bidding of their wealthy donors and super PACs rather than change and win again. It's sickening. The party is rotten to the core. I think there's no hope for the party. And I say this as someone who is begrudgingly trying to reform the Democratic Party because I know that we live in an electoral system that's single-member district, and that really inhibits third parties from rising up and winning. So I know we have to work with the Democrats and try to reform the Democrats, but they're making it so difficult. And, you know, it's not the party or their donors or people who are elected in the Democratic Party that's going to suffer. It's going to be the working class. So, this is so frustrating because each week I try to look for rays of hope. I try to be optimistic, but there's nothing. They're vehemently resisting every attempt at change or reform. I think they're going to have to lose a couple of elections and be out of power for a while until they wake up and smell the coffee. And that's frustrating because that means we get more Donald Trump. That means we get more Republicans. And I don't want that, but what else choice do we have?
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.